Okay, while I'm under here with the car jacked up, I'm gonna loosen the bolts on the transmission mounting brackets so that when we pull the engine up, the transmission can go up to an inch or so to give it enough flex for the engine to go up out of the motor mounts, over the motor mounts, so we can pull it out. And I think that's what I'm doing. It's all theoretical. I think that's what I see people do. Okay, under the car, still recovering from the heart attack I just had when my son jumped out from behind the kitchen counter and scared the heck out of me. Under the counter, under the car, we want to loosen the nuts that hold the motor mounts to the subframe. So right behind the oil pan, you can see, maybe you can see, it's a tough angle, right there, right next to the steering rack and pinion is the motor mount. And we're gonna take that nut off. And I've been getting to it with a 1/4 inch shallow drive, swivel, and an extension. All right, I got the nut off the motor mount. There's one side. There's the other side. Now the motor can lift up and those bolts will go up past the subframe. This looks like something I would have done. It's 3 little zip ties linked together in a zip tie chain. All right, got the motor mount, nuts off, labeling everything. Hopefully it'll go back where I took it from. Okay, the only thing left to do is pull the bolts holding the transmission bell housing to the engine. For instance, there's one right there. They're tricky to get to. There's a bunch you have to get to from under the car. They're kind of hidden behind the axles, front axles, so I think you need a swivel, an extension, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna pull all those. I'm not gonna video much of it because it's kind of terrible angles. So there's a total of 8 bolts on the bell housing. 2 of them, gosh darn it, on each side. On the bottom and 2 on each side on the top. There's one you can see right there that you get above the axle. And then there's where my socket's on right now. And then there's the other one below, which is just a nut. And that's on both sides. So we're gonna get those 4. The 2 on this side above, you can see we're holding the starter on, so those are already gone. So we'll get the 4 out of the bottom, those 2 are gone, and then there'll just be 2 on the top, which we'll take out on the passenger side, which we'll take out once we've got the engine hoist hooked up to it. Let's go. Yeah, and that is it right there. We've got everything disconnected from the motor, or I'd like to believe so. All I've got left to do is hook up the engine hoist, pull the last 2 bolts on the bell housing, and then we can pull the engine. Before I can do that, I have to assemble my engine hoist that I bought. Well, I finally got the engine hoist together. The no instructions thing was not a lot of fun. It came with about 10 bolts that all looked exactly the same to me, but were very slightly different. And the only way to figure it out was to put it apart, put it together, take it apart, put it together, take it apart, put it together, take it apart, over and over again. That was a hoot. But that's what you get for buying the cheapest one you could find on Amazon. Anyhow, ready to go. Next weekend, we're gonna pull the engine. What's happening, everybody? It's not raining, it's a beautiful day. I'm gonna pull the WRX motor out today if everything goes well. First thing I gotta do is I gotta jack it up and get it on jack stands so that you can get under it with the jack to jack up underneath the transmission so that the motor mount bolts clear the subframe. So let's do that first. Before I can get the hood open, I'm gonna take these bolts here and move them down to here. That way the hood will be up more. You can pull the engine out. Okay, we got the hood popped up in maintenance mode. You just drop the screws from here down to the next two spaces and it holds it up. While I was doing that, after I dropped the hood on my head a couple times, I realized that this damper is totally shot. That's the reason I had to use a 2x4 to hold it open. So I'm gonna buy a new one of these, or a new used one of these if I can, so I can hold the hood up without a 2x4. All right, now that's open, I've got the jack underneath the transmission. So I'm gonna jack up the transmission until I see the bolts clear the subframe on the motor mounts, and then I'm gonna hook on with the hoist and we're gonna try and pull this bad boy out. All right, so you can see there I've got the jack right under the transmission. There's a couple bolts behind the jack that hold the transmission into a subframe piece, crossbar there. So I've got those loosened, so hopefully that'll be enough. I don't have the nuts off, but it's enough so it can lift up on that support and hopefully clear the motor mounts, which are right here, one on each side. So let's give it a try. You can actually see right, maybe kind of see, yeah, right there, that bolt has cleared the subframe. So we're good to go on this side. On the other side, you can see that one is also cleared. So we're good to go. All right, sweet. All right, I got the hoist in place. I got the transmission jacked up. At this point, I'm gonna pull the power steering pump and the air conditioning compressor out. Put them on the sides so they're out of the way. I'm gonna look for some connection points, hook on the hoist, pull the last two bolts on the bell housing, and then hoist this bad boy out of there. Okay, I got one connection point on the alternator bracket, and then I got the back one on a bolt on the top of the engine right back by the bell housing. I'd rather have 4 points of contact, but I think to get 4 I need to strip all the extras off the top of the engine, and I don't want to do that until later because I'm gonna JDM swap it, and I would like to do that all in one day before I forget everything. I have no idea how to put it back together. So this is what I got. Got 2 points of contact, getting ready to pull it. At this point, I'm confident I can pull the last 2 bolts on the bell housing, which are, there's one and there's another one right there behind the turbo. So I'm gonna pull those 2, and then I'm gonna try and get a little putty knife and a pry bar in between the bell housing and the engine and separate them. Hey, what's up, Zach? How you doing, man? All right, reinforcements are here. I got help. All right, we got it out. I definitely think you want 2 people. Thanks, Zach. Couldn't have done it without you. One thing I want to point out is that these bolts here, there were just nuts on the back side of them. I was hung up on these on the back side of the engine there. And then you can see the slide pins right there, one on each side. Yeah, everything was disconnected. Came right out. It went way smoother than I thought it would. Now we got the old motor out. It's time to order the new JDM engine. I'm looking at a ej255X. Tune in next time. We'll try to put the new engine in. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe.